if you run a dog training or dog walking business, then this episode of Fix Your Business is definitely going to be for you. We'll be talking about how to potentially double your turnover in your business within a shorter space of time as possible. So on Fix Your Business today, I've got Rachel Cathorn. I had to be careful because I did pronounce the name wrong earlier on, so I'll remember that. So Rachel runs a successful dog walking and training business that's just over 1 year old. So welcome to the show, Rachel.
Thank you.
Excellent. So we're going to be digging into your business, obviously, and giving you a bit of advice about kind of how you productize dog walking and dog training, package it up, and hopefully sell it for more than what you're currently selling it at. And I've already talked off air about some of kind of the stories and beliefs and patterns that you're already starting to kind of using that are stopping you from growing your business. So, but for the benefit of the viewers, why don't you just give us a quick sort of potted history about how you came to setting up the business in the first place?
So I always volunteered as a dog trainer, and it got to the stage, the normal, you hate your job, you think, no, I want to change my career. So yeah, last year I decided to start up my own business, Rachel's Rambles. I already had lots of people come into me asking for dog help, but I just did it on for free for friends. Yeah, and so far so good. It's been successful. I've had clients from day one, lots of recommendations, in touch with other dog walkers in the area and dog trainers. But now I feel I've just got to the point where I have the same income every month, and it's great, it's fine, because I never thought I'd be at this point anyway. But you know, you want to earn more, you want to grow your business, and I want to grow it in a way that I'm not exhausting myself. I'm doing it the smarter way.
That's it. So we had kind of a brief sort of discussion about what your capacity was at currently, because so one of the first questions I asked you was, you know, do you have capacity to take on more clients at the moment? And your answer was?
Yes.
And then we talked about, okay, so what does your average day look like? You know, how much time would you say you've got spare? And the answer for that was?
Not at all. No.
Not at all. So this is obviously quite a common sort of dilemma or quandary, which a lot of and especially in sort of the dog walking, dog training industries, is that we kind of fool ourselves into thinking that the only way to grow our business is to get more clients, but then actually when we look at it, we don't have the time to service more clients. Yeah. So for you at the moment, it's like, you know, your earnings capacity at the moment is kind of capped by your ability to be able to deliver more training workshops and things like that.
Yeah.
One of the other things, so we were running through kind of the pricing of your sort of programs, and I'm just going to jump onto a screen share momentarily, because this is quite important, I feel. So these are my notes, so hopefully you can read them. Hopefully the viewers will be able to sort of translate them as well. So a couple of things that you mentioned at the start were about sort of marketing. Can we get more clients? We've kind of just spoken about that very briefly, but you know, how do I say no to people as well? It sounds like you're taking on work for the sake of taking on work because there's this driver to get more money. But then we were looking at the pricing, which you're currently charging. So you charge £10 for a group walk and then £8 for a 30-minute solo walk. And then you have a group classes and group training we're running at the moment, which is £80 for 6 sessions or 6 weeks. Yeah. And then your one-to-one is £25 for a half hour, and £45 for a full hour. And obviously one of the things which you're doing at the moment is you're selling your consultations at your hourly rate.
Yes.
Which, just walk us through, what's the process around kind of putting together a consultation with a client?
So the person contacts me. It's usually through social media, to be fair. That's quite a lot where I get a lot of my business from. And I book in a discovery call so we can talk to them and discuss their training needs. Like, what is it? Is it something that they exactly want to pinpoint, or a behaviour that they're struggling with? And then from there, we book in a one-to-one session. They get some feedback notes and things like that. And then I say to them whether they need, this is a bit more of a serious problem than just 1 hour. You know, you might need some more support. And that's when we potentially look into more training sessions. But to be honest, me as a business owner, if you like, that is where I get stuck and I struggle to sell myself and go, oh, well, you need to book, you know, 6 sessions. Because I'm always like, oh my God, are they going to buy 6 sessions? Like, they're just going to want 2, and they're not going to want 6 off me, and then I've just got 6 weeks, and like, what the hell do I,
Yeah.
So that's what goes through my mind a bit.
So let's try and break it down a little bit. So we'll deal with the consultation side of it first, and then we'll look at how you go about selling a follow-up package afterwards. So the initial consultation, so it sounds like it's not just 1 hour of your time. It's like you've got to show up, like drive there, you've got to deliver the consultation, you've got some notes to write up afterwards, obviously drive home as well. Potentially there might be a follow-up call where then you might sell them something else. They've already had a 15-minute call to start off with. That sounds like several hours work. So actually your hourly rate's more like sort of, it's not £45 for an hour, it's £10 an hour or something like that. Or, best case, £15 an hour.
Yeah.
And what you might find is then also by the time you start to factor in things like, well, travel generally, but also doing marketing and sales and all of the other bits of business, your bookkeeping and et cetera, like actually, if you worked out what your hourly rate is, you'd probably be like, it's like £6 an hour or something.
Yeah.
Go and earn more money working in Waitrose. And it'd be a bit disappointing. So we've got to start to create a business model that is going to work better for your business. Okay. So your target monthly turnover was 2K.
Yep.
Right. So go back to my screen share. So we always start off with our goal in mind, and then we work backwards from that. Okay. So, because otherwise what happens is, or this is what most business owners do, they go about their sort of daily life with their business, doing all of these random sort of tasks with no real sense of direction. And, it ends up just being like, you'll just be jumping around, like, going from one thing to the next, no real sense of direction, get to the end of the day and think, I've collected some money, that's okay, that'll do. But there's no real like idea. You haven't kind of got a concrete like purpose when you wake up in the morning, basically.
Yeah.
And it's perfectly normal. This is what a lot of business owners do. The one mistake which they do make at this point is they don't look at these tasks each month and go, actually, was it worthwhile doing that task? If it wasn't, then I shouldn't have done it, and I certainly shouldn't do it moving forward. And so what you start to see is then you've got these tasks which then are more specific and are going to push you towards your goal quicker, because you're doing fewer things. So it's like, if you put 12.5% of your energy into 8 things, are any of those 8 things going to work out? Probably not, because you're only putting a fraction of the energy in. So the more energy we can give specific tasks, the better. So what we want to do, though, is we want to have in mind your goal, which is initially £2,000 a month. And it could potentially be 5K a month or even 10K a month, potentially longer term. But let's hit 2K first, and then we can start to kind of grow it from there. So at the moment with that, if you're earning like £10 an hour, well, there's only 200 hours a month generally when you can work. If you work on the basis of sort of 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, is like 200 hours. So you're already kind of, even if you were at like full capacity earning that money every single hour that you're at work, we've already established you're not. So we've got to design a business that is going to sort of start to get you there a little bit quicker. So essentially business kind of works in a number of different ways. So down at the bottom here, you'll have like, so somebody messages you on Facebook and says, hey, I've seen your page. I see you do dog walking, or maybe they've been referred to you. Can you help us out? Fido's playing up, or, we've got to go back to work. Fido needs to walk. So then you'll reply to it. And quite often people will give them the price at this point without any education. And then you'll never hear from them again. Okay. So do you do that?
I try not to, because honestly, from what you have said before, a few videos that I've watched, I give them a bit of an insight as to what my walks are about, or what my training is about, and my methods and stuff like that, and then see if they respond. And then when they do, I kind of ignore the question. If they go, and how much is it? I go more into, this is what I do. And then usually by the second message I've told them.
Great. Well, you still shouldn't give them the price on there, because one of the things which you have got, and I can't remember what you've called it, but you've got that initial sort of call, 15-minute call. Consultation call, yeah. So you got the 15-minute consult call, where you're then going to book them onto a consultation. And eventually what's going to happen is you're going to sell them a package. Okay. So we've got this now, a bit of a customer journey designed for you. And if you start giving people the price, at the wrong step, it's gonna break this, and you're not
Yeah.
gonna be able to kind of move them up through the scales of initiative. And also, like, whilst you're selling, so we have the consultations. You're currently selling it £45 for an hour. I've worked with dog trainers, dog behaviorists who are selling those initial consultations. So they have a very specific target market. So they'll be breed specific. So they know the dog's inside and out and their problems and challenges. And then they've got a very specific solution, to whatever problems it is that they're exhibiting. So they'll charge in excess of like 500. I know some dog trainers who will be charging £850 for just a consultation phase of their process. Now, it's not just an hour time block that they're selling at £850. They stack a lot of value in there. So they'll have maybe several follow-ups. They'll have a bit of remote support. They'll have a much more in-depth report, which they give to them, and various other things like that before they then move them onto the package. But it's super specific in terms of market and product which they're selling. So you think about it this way, you've got to find 20 clients to sell a consultation to for every one that they sell their consultation to.
Yeah.
One of the challenges which you mentioned to me was this about, can I say no to people? Okay. So that person has learned to say no to 19 people in order to get the one perfect client who they can help. And all day long, they're getting inquiries, a dachshund owner, a dachshund specialist who's getting inquiries from lurchers and Labrador dog owners, or people who don't have, maybe they've got, maybe they're a behaviorist, specialist in separation anxiety. And so they don't take on necessarily the lower sort of level stresses and anxieties that the dogs have. They're super specific in terms of what they're doing. So they can afford to say no to the 19 people who don't fit the market or product niche.
Yeah.
For that one perfect client. What sort of feelings are coming up when I say to you that you could say no and turn down a client?
My first thing is probably finding my niche. Like, you said, like, there's the lady who does dachshunds or separation anxiety and things like that. I do find a lot of staffy owners come to me, and lurcher owners, because I own one of them myself. I own a staff and a lurcher. So I get a lot of inquiries from them, maybe because I can be really relatable, I guess. But yeah, I don't suppose I've got a niche. Mine's more just, I suppose, maybe pet dog training. But I'm not a specialist in any area, if you like. I'm just a general pet dog owner trainer. And
imagine if there's a staffy dog owner out there, and you're putting out content marketing wise all of the time which is talking about staffies. Do you think that content is going to speak to that dog owner?
Yes.
Yeah. Most people's concern or fear is that there's not enough staffy dog owners out there for there to be enough custom out there in order to satisfy their business, basically. So but actually, I bet if you look at it, there's probably hundreds or thousands of staffy owners. You're based down in sort of Essex, which is pretty well populated, southeast of the UK. I bet there's thousands of people out there with staffies.
Yeah. Yeah, I do see a lot on my walks around the town.
Yeah, and not only that, but now you're an expert in staffies. There'll be people up in Liverpool who will see your YouTube videos about staffies and go, well, we can't travel down to see you, but can we do a session on Zoom, or can we just have a consultation with you? And they'll be, because you're an expert, you've positioned yourself as an expert. Now all of a sudden, if you're selling a consultation for 250 quid, because that person's desperate to work with you, it's like, well, that's 5 times the value right there.
Yeah.
Which, what's the difference though? What's changed? Not a lot. It's just what we call your ability to articulate your value.
Yeah.
If you're there saying I'm an expert in staffies and lurchers, and all lurchers, but let's just stick with staffies. I'm an expert in staffies. I only work with staffy dogs. You'll get people from all over the world. Like, my friend who runs the dachshund training business, she's got clients all over the world. Yeah.
I guess it's slightly nervous to say that I'm an expert in the area. That could, a bit self-doubt almost.
Okay, that's interesting. But how many staffies have you worked with?
Probably about 5 or 6
okay.
Since starting my business last year. So training wise.
How many of them did you get good results with?
All of them.
So there's your evidence.
Yeah.
Yep. So fear comes from this whole thing of things being much worse in imagination than they are in reality.
Yeah.
We will search out, like in reality, for things to back up the stories that we tell ourselves. So if we start saying, I'm not an expert, we'll go out and look for evidence that backs up with we're not an expert. And you actually have to just stop that, like to say, actually, I'm going to go out and look for evidence that is the opposite of that. So
Okay.
that simple exercise, which I did with you, is how many staffies you've worked with, how many have you managed to help? All of them. Yeah, you're an expert in staffies. Some people could define it by how many qualifications you've got and all this sort of stuff. But ultimately, if you can get the desired result and outcome, which is to stop staffies from being aggressive towards other dogs, and you can do that consistently, that makes you an expert, in my opinion.
Okay.
So we go out and gather evidence to back up the message that we're starting to put out. So it's about specificity. But going back to my little diagram here. So now all of a sudden, if you're, we'll scratch you doing, we're not going to no longer be going to be doing £45 an hour consultations. So your consultation won't just jump to 250 quid, right?
Yeah.
It's a process of testing and validating, test and validate. So what I would suggest is your consultation price needs to go up to, let's play a game actually. So tell me at what point, I'm going to start increasing the numbers. Tell me at what point it starts to get uncomfortable. Okay. So
Okay.
£60, £75, £90, £120.
Probably there.
Okay. So that's the price you need to go for with your consultations.
Okay.
So we're going to scratch that. We're going to now sell our consultations for £120, okay, which is nearly 3 times the price of what you were selling them at currently. And what's going to happen is I'm going to challenge you to pitch the next 10 to 20 people who come along who want to work with you. You're going to pitch them a consultation at £120.
Okay.
Now I can guarantee that your conversion rate will be somewhere between 1 in 5 and 1 in 3. So at the first 10, somewhere between 2, 3 or 4 people are still going to say yes to this. I can guarantee it. If they don't, I'll pay you 250 quid, right? I'm that confident. But what's going to happen is the first 8 are going to say no. It's going to be the last 2 annoying buggers who are going to say yes, okay? Because clients are like buses, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got to go through that painful process over the next 4 to 6 weeks, pitching 10 to 20 people at your new consultation rate. You'll get more rejection, more no's, but we've just established you can have a third of the clients and still make the same money from the consultations. Okay.
Yes.
And at that price, let's say, for example, if you're doing, 5 consultations a month. Okay. So we'll take that. Let's just get rid of that for a second. So we're doing 5 consultations at £120 a month. £120 each. So per month. Can't write now. Where it all goes horribly wrong. There we go. So for each month, 5 consultations, £120. So that equals £600 a month worth of revenue just from consultations. Now already, so that's 5 hours of your time plus all the meandering travel and writing reports and things like that, but you're getting paid a bit more for it. But that's half your revenue that you're already making each month just in consultations alone.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would suggest you could do nothing different but sell your consultations for 120 quid and get to 2K.
Okay.
Right? How do you feel about that so far?
I don't know. Maybe I just don't see that many people that need my help, or I don't know.
How many consultations did you do, say, in August?
I did 1 ongoing client, so she booked 6 sessions with me, but that was from a consultation, and I probably did 3 other consultations.
Okay, so 4 consultations then, basically, but 1 was from an existing client, really.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Okay, so you're not far off getting 5 there. And again, it might just be a matter of, I don't want to go right the way through your sort of marketing funnel necessarily, because it's one of those things I talk about, like I compare businesses to like a rattly old Fiat 500 engine. like at the moment, your pricing and the way you've designed your products is a bit broken. So we've got to fix that first. So that when we then add rocket fuel, i.e. marketing, into that engine, now it's finely tuned, it's now a rocket engine, your business is just going to explode. But we've got to get you confidently selling your product, same product for more, basically, first. So, but even if we had 4 clients there who paid 120 quid for that initial consultation, that would have been, originally it'd been about 180 quid's worth of revenue. Under my new pricing structure, you've got 480 pounds worth of revenue, 3 times, close to 4 times the revenue.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, that will make a big difference to you. You take an extra 400 quid a month, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I wouldn't turn it down.
Right. So the second part of the question you asked was about how do I sell it? Like, I'm not very confident about selling it. So talk to me a bit about that sort of what's going on there.
I mean, I'm quite good at talking to people and things like that. People always say I'm, you know, approachable and everything, but it's just, I guess it is the no's. Like sometimes I have been turned down because of my prices, and if you're saying they're already cheap, that's kind of what then goes, oh, well, if I'm already cheap and people are turning me down. But yeah, it's just to be able to, you know, confidently say that, yeah, these are my prices, this is take it or leave it kind of thing.
So you can, first little tip, you can do it without even saying take it or leave it. It's just this, these are my prices. That's, you know, I'm good at what I do. I'm an expert. If you want to get great results, like, we work together, this is the package that I'm recommending for you. So you've got to say it with some level of authority and confidence. But there was one thing which she said there, which was about, people are already saying it's too expensive at the existing price. So, you know, if I put it up, are even more people going to say no? Well, again, this is about evidence. Like if I were to say to you, well, how do you know people are going to say, you know, how do you know people aren't going to say yes at 120 quid? You don't know, because you haven't pitched it at 120 pounds. That's why I'm challenging you. Rather than, what you've done is you've created a story for yourself. You've gone out to find evidence, and that evidence looks like people currently saying no at your existing prices. Yeah. You've got no evidence for it at 120 pounds. So actually you're kind of like that story and that belief you created for yourself isn't true. Yeah. Fair enough. If you pitch 20 people at 120 quid and they all say no, I'd eat my words and I'd give you some cash. I mean that genuinely, but I know that there is a market out there for experts like you for selling consultations at 120 pounds. So I'm confident. Okay. So what happens during the sales conversation then? So in that 15-minute call, you've talked about, you know, your business and their dog and the challenges they're having, and you get to that point of you pitch them the consultation. So imagine we're now pitching it at 120 pounds, and that person says, "Oh gosh, that's expensive." What do you normally find yourself saying?
I can hear you now going, what are you going to say? I'd probably go, let's look into like a course or a program that we can put onto, and if ever so or many sessions are booked, we can look into a discount or something. Okay,
we're just talking about at the moment, because again, we're not selling them the package yet. We're going to do the consultation.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
And then from the consultation, that's the point where you'll upsell them a package of, you know, a program of training sessions afterwards. So we're just for now, we're just focusing on the 120 pounds consultation.
To be fair, the people that have said no so far have just gone, okay, but you've got my details, so if you do struggle later on, like, you can always message me, like, and inquire again. So I have kind of accepted that, you know, this is my price at the moment, but yeah. I think with the 120, yeah, I'd be going, I know it's slightly expensive, I'm sorry.
Okay, so you're a bit apologetic. Okay, right. So is it okay to reflect something back to you?
Yes, of course.
Okay. So most people, when they sell, it's normally a reflection of their own value systems. So if 120 pounds was if you were to go and buy something for 120 pounds, that might feel expensive to you.
Yeah.
So what's happening is you're attaching emotionally to the sale based on your own value system.
Got ya.
But I find it too expensive, therefore other people will find it too expensive. So you've got to find a way, and it's not easy, but you've got to find a way to kind of detach from that emotional side of that value system there. And it can be expensive over here, but your business to get to 2K a month needs you to be rock solid and be like, no, £120 is a bargain.
Yeah.
Like this is the best thing for you and your dog. Like, that's why I'm recommending the consultation. If I didn't think I could help you, I wouldn't be recommending my consultation. But if you want to work with me and start to listen to the tonality which I'm using here as well, if you want to work with me and you want your dog to stop barking at the postman, let's book the consultation. When can you do it?
Yeah. It's all about, you want this. You want your dog to stop doing this. I'm the person that can give it to you. Let's go. Yeah.
It's much more. So don't forget, you're the expert. Your clients need you more than you need them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because what's also happening there is if you're attached to that yes and the no, because you need that £45 from the consultation because you need to pay your rent and you need to put food on your table. Now, all of a sudden, you're not operating in your client's best interests.
Yeah.
It's all about Rachel and paying for Rachel's life. So that's one of the best things about, if you can get control of the pricing side of things and charge a bit more, it gives you a bit of extra flexibility and freedom to, like, it's all of a sudden you're making more money. So it's no longer about you. It's just like you can pick and choose who you work with.
Yeah.
It gives you more time to offer a better quality product, et cetera, et cetera. So, so let's think about sort of some of the objections you might get. So they might just turn around, blunt go, that's expensive. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The best weapon in your armory when you get that objection, because it's never about price, right? The best question you can ask somebody is, what do you mean? And they might say something like, oh, I've noticed Dave down the road charges like £2 for his consultation. That's like, yeah, but Dave's not qualified with the IMDT. Dave's doing this as a side hustle. Actually, have you seen the reviews on his website?
Yeah.
So go and spend £2 with Dave, but Dave doesn't know what he's doing. Okay. Or you can come and spend £120 with somebody who knows exactly what they're doing. And actually, I tell you what, if we get to the end of the consultation and I give you the report and you actually don't feel you've had value for money out of that process, I'll just refund you the money. And you can then go and take that money and spend it with Dave if you want to. So what we've done is, it's something called a risk reversal, or we're kind of de-risking it for them. So what it does is it focuses them on whether they want the product or not.
Right.
So they've got nowhere to go now. They're kind of like, oh, well, she's just told me she's going to give me the money back if it's shit. So it's kind of a no-brainer. Why wouldn't they spend £120 with you?
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Normally what will happen is, if they're just not bought into you or not bought into the process, and that's absolutely fine, they'll just walk away anyway, despite the fact you've just said, I'll give you your money back if you don't get it.
Yeah.
So it's, so think about like what sort of questions you could ask somebody to kind of loop them back around on, like, so that one, which is, what do you mean? And they'll start giving you a whole load of excuses. Well, great. If you're worried about investing £120, totally get it. It's a lot of money. They might want to go and speak to the husband or wife or partner or whatever. And that's cool too. But just, let me talk about what's going to happen with Fido then if your husband says, no, we're not spending £120 and he's still barking at the postman. Yeah, you're still going to moan about the dog barking at the postman. Like, what are you going to do then? So you can start to kind of get them focused on the problem again.
Yes.
And it becomes not about the price. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Have you got any questions for me at this point?
None so far. I don't think so. No.
So what are you going to say? So let's say, for example, I was a client and I've just said to you, oh God, and you've just pitched me the £120 consultation. And I say, oh, Rachel, it's a bit more expensive than I was thinking. What are you going to say to me?
What do you mean?
Great question.
And also, just maybe it can always be like, if it's not right now this month, I'm always available next month. Like, no? Okay.
So again, in that, because otherwise what's happening is you're kind of letting them off the hook.
Yeah. I see what you mean straight away.
You, when you're buying stuff, like to be let off the hook.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in this instance, because they've got a dog which has a problem, challenge, needs help, an issue which it needs help with, some kind of anxiety or problem, and you can help them, you've got to get them refocused on the problem. You say,
right.
What do you mean? Okay, well, actually, I don't have the money, or actually, it's more money than I was thinking it was. Well, that's great, but obviously, like, if we were to take money out of the picture, this is another way of handling that objection. If we take money out of the picture, what do you understand the process of the consultation? Do you think it's going to be helpful? And they'll probably go, yeah, that sounds fantastic, great. So you told me at the start of the consultation that, like, you get really anxious at 9:15 every morning because you can hear the footsteps of the postman, and you know the dog's going to go absolutely mental, and you have this race to get there before he shreds all the letters every morning. I need to assess the situation, which is what that consultation is about, and I can start to give you a bit of a plan, a strategy for you taking control of that and training the dog to stop it. We can also look at further training sessions, but this is the start of the process to stop Fido from tearing the post up and barking every morning at 9:15. Oh yeah, when you say it like that,
yeah,
it's very different to kind of either letting people off the hook or feeling like you've got to justify yourself.
Yeah, I think that's it. Actually. Yeah, like, I have to justify my prices. Like, I charge this much because I do this, and this, and this. And then sometimes if I feel like it's too much, I then just add something else on. So I do this, and this.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then another way is just, you mentioned it before. I mean, it's 120 quid. So I would hope that most people could afford that. If they can't afford £120, they're going to struggle to pay for an ongoing series of training sessions. They might be more appropriate if the challenge with the dog isn't big enough to come into the group workshops or something like that. But you could also say to them, well, listen, if it's literally the fact you want to do this but you don't have 120 quid, why don't we split it down into 2 payments? Could you do £60 now and then £60 on the day, or the day before? Ideally, for consultations, you want payment in advance,
yes.
In full, because you don't want no shows and things like that happening. It gets people committed. So you could potentially split it up into a couple of payments if you wanted to.
Okay.
Or you could say to them, well, listen, if this is going to be, it might be that it's middle of the month, they're running a bit short. Well, how about let's book the session in today, so that's in the diary. I'll send you the invoice, but you pay on payday.
Okay. Yeah.
But again, what's happening is you're giving them like really clear instructions on what the next steps are in your process.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've given you a little like sales masterclass, like 101, in about a space of about 5 or 10 minutes there. What's going to happen is you'll then sit the consultation, and then I'm going to go back to my terrible diagram again.
Yeah.
Everybody can read the words on it. So then we're kind of going to get into the territory of the packages. Okay. So we've done the consultation. Next stage, at the end of the consultation or after the consultation, we'll then sell them a package. Now, actually do the consultation, and Fido's, post-shredding antics are like worse than you thought. And he's a bit of an old dog anyway. So he's going to take him a while to teach him, how to behave when the postman starts walking down the drive and things like that. So, but the packages which you want to be selling are, it's what I call the 1, 2, or 3 pack. So silver, gold, or platinum, and it depends on the severity of the issue. But Fido, you reckon, could be fixed if you had a weekly training session for 2 or 3 months. You reckon you could have it licked. Okay. But what you sell them is not £200 a month or £45 a session or whatever it looks like. You sell them a 3-month program that by the end of it will have Fido, sitting quietly looking up at the owner, every time the postman comes along, because we've got it solved. Dad's happy. Fur Baby's dad is happy because there's no barking or, his poster's in one piece. So we sell them a package, a 3-month package, that's £600. Okay.
Yeah.
It's 1 training session a week for 12 weeks. At the end of it, Fidos are going to be good as gold. And hey, presto, maybe we'll fix a couple of other issues along the way as well as a Brucey bonus. Okay. But we get them focused on one specific problem. So we start to then sell packages at £600. Now, again, it might be that it's a 3-month program. So you could say, well, it's £200 a month for 3 months. So you can split it down. But you're selling them a specific package with specific outcomes and results. Okay. And obviously, if you then did twice a week or 3 times a week, if the issue is more severe, which it might be in some cases, separation anxiety, for example, that's just absolutely like, destroying the dog. That could be like a 2-pack or 3-pack, so 2 or 3 sessions a week until the problem's resolved. And that could be as much as £1,200 or even £1,800. And again, people will hear those big numbers and go, oh my gosh, that's expensive and this, that, and the other. But imagine this scenario where you're doing like 4 or 5 consultations a month. So you're getting a few £100s in, and you've got maybe 1 or 2 or 3 clients on just your one or 2-pack already. But then every now and then a client drops in and says, yeah, do you know what? I can see there's a whole load of issues here. We want you to resolve all of them. We'll go for your 3-pack and it's 1,800 quid. Mm-hmm. Okay. Your goal was 2,000. You could sell 1 consultation a month and 1 platinum package, and you've hit your goal. That's 1 client a month.
Yeah.
Okay. But it takes time for you to gradually, eke up and start to sell bigger packages for more money and things like that. So I said, take the consultations, for example. We've agreed, you and I have agreed, you're going to start selling those at 120 quid each.
Yep.
Okay, so you've got to take the prices off your website for now, because we're going to be practicing your prices. Super important, because one of the challenges you'll face is you'll pitch it at 120 quid and somebody will say, oh, but I saw it on your website, it's £45. So take the price, whilst we're testing prices, take your prices off your website. Okay, really important. Next 10 or 20 people pitch it at £120. When you've sold like 3, 4, 5 of them, I want you to consider putting it up to 150.
Okay.
When you've sold 3, 4, 5 of them at 150, start thinking about putting it up to 180. So we're gradually going to, as your confidence grows, we'll gradually increment that price and you'll sell them for more and more.
Well, only one question. With regards to quite a lot of people I get recommended from people that I've helped. So they go, oh, so you helped my friend and they've recommended me to you. If I'm then starting increasing my prices every 4 to 5, and they'll go, well, you sold it to Thingy for 120. Now why am I 150?
Just say, I'm full to capacity. I'm good at what I do. My coach has told me to put my prices up.
All right. Okay.
It doesn't matter. Don't feel you've got to justify it. Just make it matter of fact. Just say, yeah. Or if you were worried about it, you could just say, do you know what? Actually, yeah, I'll honour Jane's price. If that's what Jane told you it was, I'm happy to honour that.
Okay.
So that then there's no problem with that. You don't lose any face either by, you probably get more goodwill by kind of just saying, yeah, I'll go for that one. You're not going to be putting your prices up every 5 minutes. It's probably going to be like every 4 to 6 weeks. You'll get, as your confidence builds and you pitch for, 10 to 20 people over 4 to 6 weeks, confidence builds, we sell 4 or 5, then I'll put my price up. So it's not like you'd be changing it every day. It's going to gradually increment sort of on a monthly, bi-monthly basis.
Okay.
I would focus to make life easy for yourself. I would focus just on the pricing for the consultation initially.
Okay.
Don't worry too much about the packages because you'll sell some packages anyway. But you can use similar techniques as you learn through applying it to the consultations. You'll start to learn the techniques which you can then apply to your packages as well.
Yes.
But I'll leave you, my parting words for you will be, throughout your sales process, assume a position of leadership. Don't let the client say to you, oh, well, I only want to book 1 session. If you're sat there and little Fido's like tearing the post up and you're like, that dog needs 4 sessions, you've got to sell that client 4 sessions or be prepared to walk away.
Okay.
Because if you're selling them 1 session, it's to satisfy your own needs to make money.
Yes.
And at all times, you need to be operating within the dog and the owner as well, but within the dog's best interests.
Yeah.
And clients will try everything they possibly can to try and tell you what they think they need. And a lot of the time it's wrong. And you've kind of got to just ignore that and just say, no, I'm really sorry, Mrs. Smith, but from what I've seen, what we discussed in your initial assessment and what I've seen in the consultation, we need at least 8 sessions because it's quite a severe problem. That is going to be close to £400, but by the end of it, I can't guarantee anything, but I'm pretty confident based on what I've seen, the dogs I've worked with in the past, that we can resolve that issue. But it's 8 sessions over 8 weeks, so we can split that down into 2 payments if you want to.
Okay.
Oh, but can't we just try 4 and see how it goes? no, I think you're missing the point here. It's 8 sessions. That's what he needs.
Yeah. Yeah. So it can almost be like, it's 8 sessions, and then we can see at the end of it where we are. Like, if he still needs more, if it's even more behavioural, or if we've completed what we're after. But 8 sessions is the minimum that this dog needs, kind of thing.
Yeah. And you've also got to get into the habit of, with your walking clients, unfortunately, are kind of taking the mickey a little bit, because you're doing training with them whilst you're out on the walks.
Yeah.
You're not really paying for that. Not at those prices anyway. So I would consider having a training walk price, which is close to double your normal walk price.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So normal walk, just take them out, give them a good stretch of the legs and come back. No training. Training walk is now double the price of what it was last week.
Yeah, because I find that a bit like my dog walking clients, because it was just started up, as a kind of a way to learn as well about dogs' behaviour, different dogs and everything like that, learning from each individual. But now I find a lot of the dog walks does take up a lot of my day, and then I've got to do all my training elements in an evening because I've booked up my day for, dog walking. So, yeah. I might have to look at prices of dog walks.
Definitely. And it might be, well, have a think about it, and you can always kind of fire back to me in the group, either in Pet Professional Network or in Confidently Charge More group. Once you've had a chance to kind of process today's session, which hopefully has been enjoyable.
Yes,
a bit of a stretch.
very good.
And keep us posted with your progress as well. Share your wins. So if you do go out and sell a consultation for 3 times the price, let everybody know, talk about it, and share that with us. I'd really appreciate it.
I will do.
Cool. Right, we're at the end of it. We did go over a little bit, I'm afraid, so we're a bit beyond 5 o'clock. But if you're watching this and you want a bit of help in terms of fixing your pet professional business, or any business for that matter that involves some kind of a service which you want to productize, or involves clients and customers that maybe are pulling you around rather than you being able to make it work for yourself better. If you want to increase your turnover, then drop me a line. We're always looking for guests for Fix Your Business. And obviously what we'll also do is we will share Rachel's details, so you can go and check out Rachel's Rambles. You're on Facebook, aren't you? You've got a Facebook page, you've got Instagram, and also we'll share the website address as well. So if anybody's down in Essex and wants some help with their dog, obviously you can go and speak to Rachel too. Rachel, hopefully that was enjoyable. It's been a real pleasure.
Yeah,
thank you.
An eye-opener. Like I said before, I've never owned a business, so actually talking to somebody that knows how businesses work and knows how to make money and make it the most successful business you can, because I think that's the goal at the end of the day. I want my business to be successful. I don't just want to 5 years time go, that was the worst experience of my life. So it's been really interesting.
Awesome. I'm pleased to hear it. And what will happen is you're going to get a bug for this when you hit 2,000. And I say when, not if, but when you hit £2,000 a month in terms of turnover, you'll be like, I want more. How do I get more? And it will keep on escalating from there. But you'll have, if you apply some of the principles you've learned today, you'll have everything you need to go up to 3K, 4K, 5K and beyond. Quite easy. Ace.
Cool.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you so much.